Sanke.
I'm a living example of you get punched in the face and get back up, because I'm the modern day Aztec warrior.
Yeah, we back at it. MMA Underground live. It's Wednesday. We got Jay filling in for Buddy for the moment. And shit, we got two phenomenal guests in the building, all the way from Streetbeefs West Coast. This man had one of my favorite fights recently. Can't wait for it to drop. We have the one, the only El Bandido in the building.
Thank you, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And all the way from Streetbeefs Scrapyard, we have the one, the only Horizun the Alien in the building.
Let's go. Let's go. Appreciate the invite, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How y'all feeling?
Feeling phenomenal, honestly. I'm just keeping it productive today. It's not sun's not slapping me in the face, so making the best of it.
Nice, nice.
Pretty good. It feels much better to, come off a win than a loss. So feeling pretty good. Celebrated a little too much, but I'm ready to start working again. So
That's good. That's good.
Celebrate too much. What's that? Never heard of it.
I've been eating. A lot of eating.
Been grabbing.
Yeah, a lot of grubbing, man. I feel
It's well deserved.
There's fight weight and then there's victory weight. You know what I mean? So you got that victory weight right now. That's cool.
Exactly.
So is there do you have a rule how long you celebrate for, how hard you celebrate for, and like how you take yourself from celebration back into focus?
I mean, to be honest, I struggle a lot of times with focus and getting back into it. This time I signed up for August and I'm hoping, well, I know I'm going to train for it. I think I'm someone that needs motivation. A lot of times if I'm out, if I have too much free time, I don't use it well. So I decided to fight in August. That way I could get back in, keep in shape, I should say. And although weight-wise, I didn't like where I was, cardio-wise, I felt better. So, I'm hoping to push it even more and keep that going, try to keep victories going. So that's right. Cardio is key for sure. I think, one thing when I was younger, that was one of my things. I was very much about pace, but when you pack those pounds, you definitely feel it. So I'm hoping to start, that's the plan, to start lowering the weight and hopefully fight at a lower.
Like that. And what about you, Horizun? How do you adjust, and what's your view on that?
Right now, I'm trying to find that out myself. As at the end of the day, like that was my first fight. So it was good to catch the dub. Shout out to the opponent JC. It was fun. Yeah, I think one of the big things for me is trying to find out, what the typical looks like for everyone else, and find out where I'm in between that, because I mean everybody's body is different. Everybody's lifestyle and habits and everything, they all have a little bit of variation or a lot of variation. So I'm just now getting really accustomed to the requirements in those such situations. You know what I mean?
Got you. It's a journey, man. It's a process, and we all figure it out along the way, and sometimes it changes as we progress too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You know that. I think for me, it's uh, definitely as you get older, you feel it in your body more. You know, I hadn't worked out in a long time, and I signed up for this last one. I was doing a couple squats, and man, I pulled the muscle. And you know, when I was younger, I remember, yeah, you know, younger. I'm not that I'm old, I guess, but you know, younger, I didn't really have injuries, so it's really different. And definitely, when I lose the weight, I feel the pounds. You feel the lightness, but you know, I think I gotta be a little better at working at that, and you know, staying focused, and you know, definitely winning. And well, even if I lose, you know, I just love fighting, you know. But I think that you know, I gotta push it more. That way, mentally, I feel like okay, I did it. You know, a lot of times, I've gone in the street beefs. I feel nervous. You know, I think it's because I haven't put in the work as much as I should. You know, so I gotta step it up for sure in that.
Hey, we appreciate the honesty, man. And a lot of fighters need to hear that because, you know, there's a lot of guys who are in that same situation. And then there are a lot of guys who are looking for, you know, uh, the opportunity to not do that, yeah, or be better, you know. And so it really helps, you know, to hear that, oh, someone else is dealing with the same shit I'm dealing with, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, because
I
I
want
feel
to,
like when it comes into street beefs, like your first fight, right? A lot of dudes don't train or whatever. They want to step in there and see. But if you're going to come back, I get the first fight you didn't put it in, right? Because you thought like every guy thinks they're tougher than they are, and you know, and then but if you're going to come back after you see what's going on there and you don't put in the work, then that shit's on you. You know what I mean? And then you see people who like they start to realize, oh, yeah, if I put in the work, not only do I get to be a better fighter, but like El Bandido was saying, I feel better, I get healthier. I think it's a great thing. I see it all around, and I think like you always talk about Sam K. There's levels, right? You come in at that bottom level, but it's amazing to see where guys go as a fan of Street Beefs. So when you see the level up from people, that's to me as a fan, I just love that. That's the kind of shit like when I tell people watch Street Beefs, like if they don't watch mixed martial arts to get into it, because everybody always wants to run to UFC. I'm like, nah, man, you get to see people's journey. You get to see them level up. You get to understand personalities. And so I think the whole thing is great. And that's why I love that he's talking about, you know, you feel one way, but you're like, I didn't put in enough work. But to me, that's a mindset that I think that you see a lot of people build off of. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I like that. I like you know, one thing he mentioned earlier. He said the first time you go to street beefs, yeah, you know, I had trained before. And I did. I fought at Sam's Town. I did an MMA event. You know, and I did. I would do really well at the gym. So the first time I went to Street Beefs, I really thought, man, whoever I go against, you know, I think I'm gonna do pretty well. And you know, I ended up losing twice, and you know, they were great fights. But I was like, man, no, these guys actually, you know, they train out here. And you know, I never thought about, but we live in the fight capital, you know, fight capital of the world. So you know, I should have expected that, but it was really like wow, you know. You know, I will say I didn't put in as much work in terms of diet, but definitely running. I was like I need to run a lot more. I need to do cardio because you know the guys I faced they were pretty good. So
Yeah, I gotta tap in with that because I think one of the big things is when you're training, right? Like you know what you got to do, and at least if you have the people that have the experience on the belt showing you the way, you know. But I think that's where a lot of people kind of miss the mark is the cardio, because it's like it doesn't matter. Like at a certain point, it's like you can be as good as you need to be, but if your cardio isn't there, you could just smack them around round one. You don't get the finish, then it's like you're gassed round two, round three, or however many rounds there are, and at the end of the day, you can't perform, and then they might not be as as skillful or as high level as you, but at that point it doesn't matter because you're now behind them because your guard's all down the entire second, third round, and you're not defending, you're not moving your head, you're not doing the basics anymore. And I think that's one thing that I'm really hammering on for this next fight, especially because I'm transitioning. I'm an MMA guy. That's what I really started doing first, but I took the boxing because I was like, I want to practice my hands. I want to get my hands up. So I know the MMA is going to take more cardio because you got more elements, you got more weapons, you got more things you got to defend, and it's going to be more tiring, right? So it's like that's one of the main things I'm doing right now. Is like let's get the cardio up.
So when you're doing your cardio work, this is just from outside looking in. How does one know they put in enough work for X amount of rounds, right? Without heavy sparring or going through it, because somebody who's hit the bag or sparred or whatever, right? Like hitting the bag's one thing, you think you got enough cardio. Then you spar and you realize, like, I didn't even have enough cardio for fucking sparring, right? So, and then anybody who's I heard this too, but anybody who's grown up street fighting, the average street fight lasts under 2 minutes, and most people hold their breath while they're fighting. It's ridiculous. So, like, how do you know as a fighter, like, I have enough cardio to make it 3 rounds or 5 rounds? Like, how does one like gauge that?
I really don't 100% know. I think every fighter is different, but for me, usually it's running. Running is I hate it, and it's a very, it's a thing that I think if you overcome it, depends if you like it or not. But for me personally, when I battle the run, it's like a fight for me. Some days you come in motivated to the fight and you're ready to go. Other days you feel real nervous, and so to me, that simulates it. And you're running, especially for me, usually it's around, if I can do 3 to 4 miles, at a certain pace, because I always time it. I know I'm ready because once you run a certain amount, I think mentally you have to face it, because the whole time, for me at least, I'm thinking, man, I could end this right now. I ran 2 miles. That was pretty good. And to me, it simulates a lot of fight where, no, push it. And you get motivation, and sometimes you don't. And I know a lot of people like Muhammad Ali and Foreman, they call it road work. And I really think that's why, I only run outside. I don't run on a treadmill. And I think, allows you to speed up, slow down. And I think, not 100%, but it does simulate it a lot. And I use that a lot. And every time I run, the last one, I do a final sprint, and then I'll simulate 3 rounds after that final run to kind of, for me, it's simulating going to war every single round. And then,
I need third.
Yeah. I think one of the things when it comes to cardio is, for one,
Oh no!
Right. So like if you're looking
say
at
that again, you went out for a second.
Yeah, you're good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying, do the thing that you are training to do as cardio, right? More. I think with sparring, like, so if you're training to fight, then do more sparring. Do more sparring. Get in a situation where you're like, you got 2 homies, 3 homies, or whatever, and be like, hey, can you guys cage me? Meaning caging is just like, you go out, one homie, right after that next homie, right after that next homie, right after that next homie, and you're the one that's all the homies are going against, 3 times in a row, 5 times in a row, 7 times in a row, whatever, and then like do that until you gas out, and because those are the situations where you're using your cardio for. So it's like, the closer your cardio is applying to whatever you're doing, you're gonna train to get that type of cardio in. And also, I think, with fighting, I mean, of course, like, there's the whole, if you're pacing yourself, and that's always great, being able to control your pace. But I think a lot of the time sprinting is closer to what you need, for, it's good to have the long distance and doing the 4 miles and the 5 miles. I've yet to really start doing that. I've been kind of really just mainly focusing on a lot of sparring as my cardio, and you know, doing some sprintings, because like if you're getting those like if you're getting the sprinting in, then the sprinting is when you get those those pushes that you need to make, and you can get that second win a lot easier if you're training the sprint, and then you sprint as long as you can, you time it or whatever, and then boom, you stop, and then you do that, if you do that however many times you need, and then the next day you start doing the sprints again. You're like, all right, how long was I able to sprint today? And you can just train to get incrementally better at sprinting, as well as the training when it comes to sparring. And I think that is a higher impact in regards to it's more time efficient, I think, as well, for improving the gas tank, because like sprinting, you run out of gas faster with your sprinting, so you can get more sprints in a shorter amount of time and gassed out faster in a shorter amount of time, and basically be able to have your recovery periods or whatever you need in between that. But yeah, so that's just, I guess, my 2 cents on that. It's worked out in the short amount of time. I kind of really I really was pushing for the first fight. So,
Well,
and I personally didn't feel gassed at all. I didn't feel gassed at all by round 3. So
I agree with the sparring. I think he had mentioned without like if you don't spar, but for sure spar is the most important. That's the gauge, and gauge in timing. I mean, gauge in movement. I've had times where I don't run and I'm in the sparring and I do really great sparring. So
yeah,
sometimes for me, I think I do really well in sparring. So I don't like to use it as a gauge personally. I think depends how much you've trained too. We used to do Shark Tanks, like what he's talking about, where people would come in one at a time. I
yep.
think in Streetbeefs too, it's only 6 minutes, right? 3 2 minute rounds, unless you're the championship. So I think it's a little different too. But for sure, sparring is, in my opinion, is the most important thing.
And as a quick side note, the way you recover in between rounds too, like your breathing technique in between rounds. One thing that I don't know if you, I don't think my fight's even out on YouTube yet, but one thing I was very intentional about was not only nose breathing and then exhaling through the mouth, but also box breathing. That's the technique that like Marines use when they're trying to make sure that they're staying optimally calm and they're optimally recovering in a short amount of time, which is basically just you inhale 5 seconds, you hold 5 seconds, and then you exhale 5 seconds, and then you hold 5 seconds, and then you just do that over and over and over again until you get into whatever your time frame is, and then obviously you want to hydrate a little bit. So yeah, that helped me a lot. So I don't know, something that anybody else want to try, box breathing.
It works because I definitely do that myself on my runs, and phenomenal answers. Phenomenal answers. I'm interested in finding out how did you guys find out about Streetbeefs, and walk me through how did you join your respective branches, both of you.
Originally, I knew Mustache.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
I
you
love
know, so
mustache.
That's the
his
homie.
yeah, I think he's a OG legend.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But he was my coworker at the time, and he did a couple, and I had been out of, I hadn't trained in quite a while, but I thought, I'm 30, I'm 31 now, so I thought, I'm not gonna be pro, but at least I can, do a couple competition, and it's gonna be on YouTube, and I figured, why not? Let's do it before I get too old, So I just love it. I love the community. After the first time I went, that sold me, It was like, okay, this is my thing, and I love it, Like I always say post fight, long live Street Beefs, and I mean that, I think it's a great, great thing.
Awesome. And Horizun?
Location. Right. So joined this branch because it's the closest one. Also, I did have my homie. I used to. My main gym is actually Straight Blast gym, and that's where I'm sure you guys have seen Cobra Kai when he came on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was the one that did. He initially did boxing, and then he did kickboxing as well. But yeah, he basically trains. Hey, there he is.
We got him.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
the man, the myth.
Okay, as soon as I still got dirt on my face from work.
Yeah. So yeah, he ended up doing it. He had some success and ended up inspiring me to eventually step on as well. And big shout out to Cobra Kai, my guy Cairo. And shout out to SPG, and then also Portland City Boxing. They've been helping me recently. So and my guy Dope back as well. He took me in and introduced me to Portland City. So but yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of how I got involved with Street Beefs. I've been watching Street Beefs for years too. I mean, that's a
Okay.
given. Yeah.
You was aware before you met Oh Boy.
What was that?
I say so you were aware of Street Beefs before you met
Oh yeah.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah. I've been watching Street Beefs for a long time.
Well, what about you, Bandido? I know Mustache brought you in, but were you aware of Street Beefs? Did you watch Street Beefs before?
I didn't watch it all that much, but I did watch. The one I remember a lot was the Shinigami knockout.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
when
But you had an idea of what it was.
yeah, I had an idea of what it was.
Gotcha.
For sure. To be honest, it's gonna sound a little corny, but when I saw Shinigami, I've seen celebrities and stuff. I mean, not that it was that big, but I was like, oh shit, man! I guess a little starstruck. I was like, that's the guy. You know what's
Mhm.
funny too? The first time I watched it, I underestimated Street Beefs again. I said, man, what are these guys gonna do? Then he fucking threw that head kick. I was like, oh fuck, that's pretty good.
The signature head kick.
Yeah,
The viral head kick.
shit, that could be the logo, Shit.
Shout out Shinigami. Might be popping up later on the show today, but we'll save that for later, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's crazy because I kind of had a similar moment as well, but I met Shinigami like within the first year of the West Coast. So he was still champion then. I think he was still undefeated at the time. And sure enough, man, he popped up at one of the events, and I'm like, oh shit, that's the guy over there, Yeah.
I had a family member do that once too. One of my uncles, he was putting on one of the, I think Shinigami came when he's the first time to the scrapyard. He put Vaseline on Shinigami for a minute, and he's like, "You didn't get a photo of me with the infamous Shinigami?" And then he was so, and he's like, "What the heck? Shinigami was here. I got to see him. I was next to him. You didn't get a photo." I was like, ah.
Damn
Man,
it.
it's crazy that's that star power, huh? Well, that's why I tell people at Street Beefs too. I tell them, you never know. I know all types of people. I mean, they got that gentleman from I'm sorry, I forget his name. Death Sentence.
That sense.
I mean, he look at him, So I always tell people, they like to talk and whatever about his Street Beef sometimes, but I'm like, hey, man. Not only are these people throwing down, some of these people have opportunity to,
Yeah.
go and do other stuff. So it's awesome.
Yeah, speaking of death sentence, yeah, Wing at Sea, he's a problem.
Oh yeah.
That man is good.
Yeah.
He makes it
He
look so
came out to the
smooth
West
too.
Coast and showed out. And yeah, man, every fight he shows out.
Yeah, his distance management is fucking incredible to be able to dance like that in match and still be able to keep it evasive, keep it slippy, and still be able to counter. Like beautiful work. So
Is he
Oh,
coming to the scrapyard or what?
Yeah,
He is? Okay.
Him and Death Sentence are getting flown out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
heck yeah. I know
the Wing C's fight is going to be dope for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
him and the chef. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? Heck yeah, no, it's gonna be crazy for that event. I forgot who Death Sentence is fighting, but yeah, Winged Sea and the Chef's gonna be a crazy one. But I really felt like I saw the fluidity of Winged Sea when he fought Crazy Legs in the OG yard. Like you said, he was dancing, doing
Yep.
this, and the way everything was just so smooth. I'm like, man, I can't even dance like that without fighting shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, and have
For
you guys
crazy.
know I got put on game, but it's an actual tattoo on his forehead. I thought it was
Yep.
like a drawn on headband, but it's
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah, I just got to say, Crazy Legs. That wasn't our best Crazy Legs right there. My guy was injured, and you know, Wing C had no other choice but to shine. But shout out Crazy Legs. Shout out Crazy Legs.
Thank you,
I'd like to see that
man.
rematch. That'd be a healed up Crazy Legs without a cut would do damage, I believe. But anyway, my bad, buddy.
Nah, it's all good. Oh man, I know I came in a little late and everything else, man, but I mean, I'm so glad I got to catch both y'all, all three of y'all. We got to have a good time. And Horizun, I was curious. Did you talk a little bit about how some of the you incorporated some of the music with the timing in your fights and whatnot? Because I know before your match when we were talking, you brought up how it was like you could almost hear a metronome or like a tempo in your head when you train and when you fight. And when I watched you out there, I almost felt like I was listening to a track or something because like every 8 beat, every quarter beat, every whatever, I'd watch this movement that you had, and oh yeah, I was impressed.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a musician, so I sing, I rap, produce, engineer. Like I'm actually in my studio right now as we speak, actually. But yeah, basically for me, when it comes to movement and when it comes to dance, when it comes to fighting, um, it feels very synonymous. I really realized that when I got in the fight, and even with sparring, like um, even though like I dance, I do music and all that stuff, I didn't really exactly. I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to manifest. You know, knowing since I was my first fight, I was like, am I going to feel more natural actually dancing like Wing and Chi is, or am I going to just be utilizing it in a different way? And really, what it ended up manifesting itself as is more of my style of evasiveness and my style of feinting and my style of um uh getting people to bite in regards to how I move, because it's one thing to like just do a feint or whatever, but my style of dance when I freestyle or when I do choreo or anything like that um is very isolating. There's a style called isolations, right? So isolations is like, I'm sure you've seen when people do dance moves and stuff like that, right? They do like the head thing, like that's kind of like with my movement. I try to incorporate that because one, it's natural to me. I just kind of, that's how I normally move, but also because that allows me to be in my element while implementing something that the opponent probably doesn't understand as well, if that makes any sense, right? So like if you're not in the dance world, if you're not a dancer that understands isolations, you're not going to understand how I move, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I hit that True Grit earlier in a minute, but I was gonna say, Bandido, when you trained, you kind of use a little music as not like just motivation, but sometimes for the timing of the way you move and everything else too. Because I've caught myself doing cardio on beat to everything, and I use a little electronic music once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times when it comes to shadow boxing, in terms of like you said, movement, for switching stances and Just fluidity. I think in your head you're always making a rhythm. Same thing, like you said, like with music. I like to listen to a lot of '80s music, and it's like slow. It's like slow, calming, and with the beats, boom, boom. I'm not really good with music terms, but sometimes like for lack of a better term, like a disco beat, something fast. It depends. I'm always able to find definitely with music that I like beats while shadow boxing. Even here, uh, I'm always shadow boxing. If I listen to music, I always in a weird way dancing while shadow boxing. Seems silly, but I mean, I guess not, because you guys are mentioning it. So, but yeah, definitely.
It's
Yeah,
all rhythm, man. It's
yeah,
all motion. It's all mobility. And as fighters, that's definitely something we all need.
yeah. I mean,
Oh
it,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it really brings it all back to balance. Like the better you are at dancing, and especially like dance styles that incorporate footwork, that incorporate body control, man, it is going to make a big difference. And I think it's very underestimated when it comes to that. And um, you know, there's I can't remember. I'm trying to remember who it was, but there's somebody that does like did salsa that uh, uh, started fighting, and the footwork and everything that they're being taught is it not only comes natural for them with the footwork, but it also allowed them to be able to um, move with a certain fluidity that takes sometimes years to be able to understand if from somebody who's not a dancer, because you already understand movement, just there's just base movement and balance while you're moving, you know, um, and creativity while you're moving, which is creativity is also underrated when it comes to movement, when it comes to striking and all that. It's good to understand to really lock in the fundamentals and everything, but once you get that like that the muscle memory locked in so much where you can be creative, that's where it gets really fun. So
Heck yeah.
Facts.
I was say, all right. Oh, sorry. What was that song again?
No, I had a question for Bandito. What you were gonna say?
No, I was just saying that. Wait, I saw True Grit from that comment earlier. He's like, "Oh, Crazy Legs stuck," and that's one fight I do want to see if it was to happen. True Grit and Crazy Legs. I know that there was some of the stuff from a comment that was made on a post or something being said. Words were exchanged, but then the fight isn't necessarily going to happen, and everyone can't quite come to terms. So I'm just like, dang, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that match. That'd be a fun one. And I think he bulked up to like 155. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Bandito. I had mentioned earlier that last event you had my favorite fight of the day. I'd like you to walk us through that fight, man. It hasn't been released yet, so kind of give us your thoughts and what took place there.
Well, a lot of it was a blur, to be honest. But I remember at the beginning. Yeah, yeah. To be honest, it's that shit it goes quick.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I remember starting to fight. I had been training a lot for boxing. So, shout out to Bloody Raps. I sparred a lot with him, and he really helped my base with boxing. I'm used to doing Muay Thai a little bit, not really Muay Thai, but kickboxing, and I was very square, and he helped me a lot. So I was practicing a lot of boxing. So when it was kickboxing, I was like, oh man, that's a little different. And then he started off with like a karate stance.
Say it
So
again.
he started off with like a karate stance, kind of
Yeah.
like a. So immediately I thought, oh man, this guy he knows how to kick. So I wanted to close the distance. So I kind of just closed my guard and went forward, and he landed, I believe, a couple uppercuts. And he was taller. He was kind of tagging me, and then I remember thinking, oh man, I can kick. I've had forgotten a little bit. So I kind of with a big leg kick, and I just remember he didn't like it very much, and from there I just kept trying to put the pace. Every once in a while I throw a kick. I was just trying to walk him down. Doesn't always serve me well, but that's kind of my style. I just kind of go forward and try to, make some space. And credit to him, man. He was tough, and I just kept trying to go to the body, hurt him. I know I hurt him a couple times to the body. I would hear him groan. I maybe heard that 2 or 3 times, but man, he never stopped. And even they released a little highlight thing on Instagram. I mean, I was tagging him with some big rights, and he just, tough guy. But I felt that a lot of it was cardio. Even though I felt tired, like I said earlier, I would do those runs, always sprint at the end, and then I would have a boxing timer and just you really, really simulate trying to fight. Unfortunately, I couldn't have too much sparring. I tried, but there wasn't a lot of sparring partners available. Time conflicts and stuff like that. But so I said, I'm just gonna throw punches, and so I would just keep my guard up all the time. Boom, boom, switch stances, and just do that every day, and as much as I could, and run, do push-ups, do sit-ups, and you know what? Something that was really important for me this time was mind frame. And a lot of times I'm a very passive guy, and in terms of when it comes to training, like or even when people say, "Hey, good luck," I say, you know, I'm gonna do my best, and I do mean that. I don't care about winning or losing, but this time it was more about I'm gonna go in there to fucking win. And so I just try to train like that, and it went well, but I gotta push it even more. But that's what I remember just at the beginning being like, oh shit, this guy, he knows some type of fucking karate. He's going to throw some head kicks. So I just wanted to close the distance and put that pressure. And that was the whole thing. I just didn't want him to get comfortable.
Yeah, you did a really good job of tearing that front leg up, and then pressuring him to the wall and keeping the pace because you guys were really in there. Y'all were scrapping. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to maintain that all 3 rounds. Especially like you said earlier, you've been training for boxing and then having to switch back to kickboxing mode. It can be a mind game in itself. But hell of a fight, my favorite fight for sure. And yeah, man.
Thank you, but I definitely was nervous of the kicks. Sorry, Russell. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking if it dropped yet.
No.
Oh, not yet, no. But I was definitely nervous of the kicks from last time. I went against what was his name? Soul Assassin, I believe was his name. And man, through some kicks, my legs were hurting for a while. I definitely think that the kicks make a big difference. That's one of the reasons I respect the MMA guys a lot. Because like he said, MMA cardio is different. When you're grabbing people and trying to get chokes, and man, that shit is tough. And then the little gloves. I mean, respect to those guys. I like the big gloves because it's just a little safer in my opinion. So respect to the MMA guys and the guys that do the 4-ounce Muay Thai too. I mean, man, that's some wild crap. That's some wild stuff right there, man. That's some badass guys right there. But respect to the boxing too. I mean, we have we have a lot of guys that could be some real. I'm not gonna say maybe necessarily professional, as top guys, but hey, they're on their way possibly. We have the boxing and Streetbeefs is really good. So I really think we'll see what happens. But if this keeps going, I think eventually you're gonna see someone from Streetbeefs that's gonna be some type of champion in something. Whether it's MMA or boxing or this is gonna be their base. So I can't wait to see that.
Thank you. And we have people in Power Slap, BKFC, all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, I want to see what kind of waves you're making. Shit, you're like, get out the way.
We'll see. Maybe hopefully, I get something, some little thing. I feel I'm a little older, but like I said, I love the community, so I'll ride with it.
Thank you. And I know
How
earlier
many,
you had a question.
real quick, how many fights do you have with us right now?
I have 6.
Okay, you're making your way. 10 fights is Hall of Fame. So you're not too far away, brother.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be very active. At the end of this year, of course, I know I was hoping the whole year, but yeah, I'm hoping to fight. The plan was every month, but life always comes around, excuses come around, so But every time I sign up, I don't want to be a little beast, so it motivates me. No matter what, even if I'm out of shape, I'm gonna show up. So it's much better to show up in shape. Yeah.
Preparation.
Yes, sir.
It's I think we've seen that a few fighters too, like through the years of certain transitions where someone you could tell has gone off of like a little bit of a lull, and or somebody's coming back after they've been, training hard in the gym or whatever. And it's crazy how just a little bit of a change really affects people. It's like
Yeah, I think you're right. And I'm hoping to do that now. A lot of times growing up, training, I was pretty good, and people would always tell me, "Man, yeah, you have a good talent." But I would drink a lot, do stuff. Not making an excuse, doesn't matter. But I don't want that to be this part of my life. I don't want it to be like that. I want to at least take advantage of the small competition I have here, and and I have friends that are already in the UFC. I lived that through them, and competition wise, that doesn't matter who you are. Fighting, if you win, you can walk around the streets and you feel a lot more confident about something happening. So that's the beautiful thing about fighting. It doesn't matter if you win on the street, if you win in your brother's backyard, if you fucking win in the UFC. When you win and you whoop someone's ass, it's just nothing like it. So I love it, and as long as God keeps me healthy, and I'm gonna keep doing this stuff. So even if sometimes I get whooped myself.
it's all part of the game. It's all fun, right? Yeah, that way you can look back and be like, "Dang, I remember when I got my butt whooped that one time."
Yeah, for real.
I
And to
think
be
my
honest,
favorite
I do a lot for my son too. So, but sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, one of my favorite stories when I was younger was even though it ended up not the best for me, I remember I got stomped on the concrete and I had like the street imprint across my head. But I went back and I settled it squared up 1-on-1. So and I won. So that's one of my favorite stories because I got to turn the bad into a good.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
But I know earlier in the chat I was gonna say I was curious too. Horizon, who are you fighting this upcoming month?
Freakzilla,
Ooh, wait, what style?
MMA.
Woo, Freakzilla's a fun fighter to watch. Definitely wily too. Lots of energy. That's gonna be a good one. All right. I
Yeah,
like
we
it.
had him on the show not too long ago, right?
That's correct. Heck yeah. I'm curious. You a little excited, nervous? I mean, you made your name, you came out, and we people are respect you for your fighting style, but people that don't know you, they see your appearance and you got a very unique look, and I feel like that draws a lot more eyes. Do you feel like that's kind of adding a little bit of pressure too, or is it just a normal day?
One thing I did realize is I felt very at home. That's what was. I didn't really come in with expectations. I just came in there to do the work, really. But once I got in there, it felt very at home for I think a couple reasons. One, I'm already a performer, right? So like I already do music. I performed in like I've opened up for Lupe Fiasco in 2019, literally. So like I've performed in front of 3,000 people with a whole ass team, four dancers, me dancing, as well as singing and rapping at the same time. DJ, like I've been in front of people. So being in front of people isn't really or cameras isn't really anything new. But also from a perspective of just I've been training, So once you've been training and you have the confidence of your training, at least you're going to be able to show up and do your own do what you're supposed to do what you train to do. And even if it doesn't end up being a dub, which my mindset was coming in there to win. It was not. I wanted to make sure that it's like he hit me as little as possible, which I think I was mostly successful at. Um, and there were times I, got clipped here and there, but you know, I avoided most of the shots. and I did what I got to do. So, but really I think the big thing for me is focusing on the improvements and focusing on where I did not capitalize on, right? And being able to understand and be like, hey, I made a miss a lot, but where's all the, the punishing for the misses, like I could have punished a lot more for the misses, and I could have, in certain situations, like I remember at the very end, I was like, okay, well, I know I could stay outside of its range and get in and hit when I need to hit. But what happens when I stand and bang and then I pointed at the ground and I just kind of stood there in the middle? Yeah, it was kind of a Max Holloway approach of it, and I just kind of stood there in the middle and we just started swinging and he caught me with like 3 good ones. And I was like, good information. I need that data. Now I know. I know I can do my style and stay away and hit when I need to hit, but I need more data. What happens when I stand here? That's what happens when I stand there. I need to work on my pocket work. So now I've been drilling my pocket work, and I was like, I got hit a little bit too much in that short time frame. I know I need to get better defense in the pocket. Boom. So I've been drilling more pocket work and really being able to keep up the pace and keep up the evasiveness, understand better footwork, understand better head movement in there when I'm sitting in the pocket, and being able to deliver in the same way that I can deliver when I'm at the space that I feel most comfortable. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
With that spring in your step, man, I mean, some of those counter punches might be, knockout worthy. Come on, heck yeah.
I'm trying to work on that. That's the thing is like, I noticed when I did counter a lot of the counters, they were very good counters, but there were a lot of counters I didn't get, and then also the counters that I did do, I wanted to be able to sit down on my punches better in those counters. So sometimes it'd be like, oh, my foot left the ground a little too much, or something. Yeah, it's like it didn't have as much power as it needed to have. I need to improve the delivery system of the punch if I'm going to be countering at that pace. So I don't want I'm working on the quality of my delivery system not deteriorating, even though I'm countering quickly. I don't want the quality to decrease. So that's one of my things I'm focusing on. So
Fine tuning, right? Fine tuning.
that's what it's about. Is just figuring out your holes, figuring out what you need to improve. And as always, improving the cardio. So
As we know, cardio is key. Cardio is
Yeah,
key.
I need to listen to that.
And
But yeah, I
also
appreciate that.
Go ahead.
I'll just say I appreciate the compliment on the footwork, though, for sure. Like that's something that over the years has been something that like friends and people I spar with has commented on, and I think part of it is probably because of my first martial arts style was capoeira, so it really just blends in. So I'm excited to do MMA because I can be a little bit more free in my normal style. So.
And kudos for taking the time, even in victory, taking the time to sit down and say, how do I get better? A lot of times we don't do that until we take the L or something happens bad in practice or whatever. But to get the dub and then to sit down and say, no, I need to study and find out what happened. A lot of fighters can, thank you, Sasha. A lot of fighters can take heed to that. Kudos to you, sir.
Thank you. And always a student. It's always my mindset.
That's what it is.
Now, El Bandido, I know that you were talking about how seeing some belts and outside of Street Beefs one day in the future. I'm curious, do you want to become like a professional straight boxer? Do you think you might do a little bit of, BKFC if it came your way? Or is it, kind of just you want to test the waters and what you feel you're most comfortable and you want to go 100%?
Man, I haven't really thought about anything professional wise, to be honest.
Heck
I
yeah.
mean, if it was there, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I've thought about doing BKFC just maybe once or twice to, for like a cash grab type thing, but man, that's tough sport. I mean, that's real tough, that's damage, and I'd be lying and if I said I want to pursue that. I really want to do street beefs, but knowing me, if I get into the mindset of fighting truly, and I'm able to take care of my diet wise, and I'm able to put. I really believe it's a mindset. I mean, that does take something out of you. Being niceness. I used to be a very rough guy, so fighting to me came very naturally. I used to like be not a troublemaker, but I like action, and so that you need a little bit of that when you fight. So if I could find a good mix and come back in, I'm sure I would try it. I'm a guy. Hey man, I'm gonna fucking go. If there's a fight there and I signed up for it, we're gonna go. We're gonna see. I remember the first time I went, I was supposed to fight Bricks. I fought Bricks. Because I guess he came in a little heavy, and people were like, "Hey man, this guy hits fucking hard." Even I remember Mustache. He's like, "This guy hits hard," and I was a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, but I was like, I don't give a fuck, man. This is what I'm here for. I like to scrap, and I'm not gonna say that if I get hurt, I'm just gonna go in blindly. But that's what I feel. If eventually it becomes professional, shit, why not? But I'm just gonna keep scrapping. That's mostly what I want to do. Get on there, fight, and if somehow they contact me, hey man, I think you could do well. Why not? Let's do it.
Hey, for the people who don't know, El Bandido versus Bricks, that was a firefight for sure. Uh, Tall order fighting Bricks.
And he had a
Um,
great jab.
oh yeah, but to the effect of the whole weight situation, right? We're right here in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? You got Tank right there. You got Free Smoke right there. We see the results. These guys have the plans and the nutritions and they got all the stats. The help is around. You just gotta reach out and get it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. They've reached out a lot, like a lot of it is just commitment and going in there and actually putting my mind to it. But I feel like something's changing, so we'll see.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
But yeah,
crazy. I mean, I
Martin,
saw.
sorry, shout out to Free Smoke and Tiny Tank. I mean, and Samke and you guys. I mean, all the guys who run Street Beefs. I mean, it's not a easy thing to take out of your free time and do it. And unfortunately, I heard another one had a little bit of trouble. They had to stop an event, and so right here, I've never seen anything even close to that. And I hope it keeps that way. And so real respect to you guys, man.
Appreciate you, brother. It's a
Heck yeah.
community effort. We all put a piece to the puzzle. Uh, Real quick before we wrap it up, I wanted to ask both of you, how did we get our fight names? Where did that come from? If Horizun, if you want to start it off, and we'll finish it with Bandido.
Well, first of all, um, through music is first, right? So, Horizon the Alien. If you want to look up any of my music, that's exactly where you're gonna find it. Horizon the Alien. Don't misspell it. If you do ZON, you're gonna run into 50 bands with the name Horizon in their band. So to spell it right, you're gonna find my music, all platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, all the jazz. So um but yeah, one of the big things for me is through the music and through fighting, that's actually how I push the message. Right. So one of my major missions is to actually push sustainability for the planet. Get science, logic, reason, critical thought into the mainstream. Really being able to become the legendary version of yourself, and no matter what avenue that is, into the mainstream through the music, through fighting. It's fun. It's kind of interesting too. It's like I've known a lot. I have a lot of friends and family. A lot of people didn't know I was passionate about martial arts. They didn't know I was I liked fighting and really wanted to actually do this. So, and what's funny is I haven't really even posted a ton about it. I'm going to start posting a lot more, but um, really to show that there's really no limit, man. I'm 35 and I'm really being able to perform and constantly get better. I think it's a lot of people sell themselves short when it comes to their passions, when it comes to their capabilities. And I hear talk all the time about like, oh man, like I hit age 30. Oh man, it's all downhill from here. And I'm like, motherfucker, when I hit 30, I was feeling better than I ever felt. I was in the gym. I was eating well. I was I was making better music than I ever made, and pushing. There's always things that you can improve on and level up on, right? But really showing that you only really start slowing down when you decide you're slowing down. Like it's a decision. Like if you make a decision to consistently improve, you're going to fucking consistently improve. That's just facts, right? And really what Horizun the Alien comes from is it's actually my future self, understanding where we're headed, coming back in time and embodying me now to be my legendary version of myself, and pushing everybody to do the same, and pushing the planet to where it can be as well. And when I say alien, it's like, oh, I think these things are aliens. Like, no, like future mindset is where that comes from, and being able to understand that with anything that you do, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? So like if you yeah, so if you really decide to be the lion in the jungle, if you really decide to be that version, then that version is going to come forth, as long as you actually try to understand the habits that are necessary and implement those habits that are necessary to get to reach that level of yourself. So that's really what I'm here for, with everything that I'm doing, music, fighting, all that. It's all connected. So, but if anybody ever wanted to, reach out, YouTube or Instagram, whatever, it's all the same everywhere. Horizun the Alien. So, but Aliens Forever is also the movement name. So if you did want to look it up, I got merch, I got hats, I got yoga pants, I got fucking chargers, I got it's all branded, got shirts and everything. So right here, Aliens Forever, right?
Hell yeah.
So it's actually a whole movement. It's not something that I'm just fucking around. Like I created everything, designed everything, created the website, all that. So it's a real thing. It's a real movement. You want to join the movement, be a future fighter. That's what I'm here for. Shout out to my team, by the way, the Forevers. Got a whole team of dancers that are always out there killing it with me every performance. And yeah, so we are here. That's where Horizun the Alien comes from, and what Aliens Forever is. This future movement, future mind.
That's what's up,
Hey.
brother. That's what's up. Bandido, how'd you get your name?
It's not as good of a story, yeah. But Bandido, I mean, originally, I'm not gonna lie, I was supposed to be El Santo, which is a Mexican wrestler.
Okay.
But I've always grown up loving the Mexican side of me. I love being American. Don't get me wrong, but I grew up with a lot of Mexican American culture, Mexican wrestlers, and even the nicknames where I grew up in LA. Gangsters have Mexican nicknames a lot of times. So a lot of times the Spanish culture, Mexican culture influences stuff I pick, and I was thinking El Bandido is something you can say in Spanish and a little bit in English, and it still sounds kind of the same. El Bandido means the bandit, and just a name I thought sounded cool. Sounding like probably it's cooler in Spanish, but just something that I guess really sounded Mexican and shows that part of me. Shows that I'm a Mexican warrior at the end of the day. In a weird way, I do think it's a little genetic sometimes. Fighting styles. I mean, not always. I think depends also on your environment, but I've always had this fire when it comes to fighting. I like to go forward. Not always, but I like to fight, and I think anything that's part of me fighting style comes from I believe my Mexican side. I mean, but even as an American, I mean, we're fucking fighters, we're warriors, so I don't know to be, but I just like it.
Hell yeah. I can attest to you liking fighting from being at the fights, but also our spars, the training sessions. Bandito likes to fight, and he can fucking fight.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Something too, I find a very unique style, and I really, man, I remember one time, I remember one time I had this tall guy, went to spar, right? And at the time I was really good. And I looked at this guy, real skinny white guy, long hair. I thought, I'm gonna school this guy. Man, this guy was throwing head kicks over, and he had this weird movement where it was hard to time his punches, kind of like yours. And I remember thinking, man, I'm never ever gonna underestimate any man ever again. It was a great lesson. I'm glad I learned it in sparring, but that style, anytime I see a style like that, that's what it reminds me. Like, oh shit, this is something different. You don't know everything about fighting, or don't ever forget it.
Facts.
Well, even though I'm having a fun time, man, I know that we all are in different time zones, and we can't keep everybody all night. So I know that, but before we even think about letting you go, we got to get some social medias. We got to get your final shout outs. We got to get anything you want to say to the people watching, or something you want to put on your own social media. I mean, shit.
I forget my YouTube name, but I don't really do anything on YouTube. But El Bandido Garcia's Instagram. If you guys wanna add me, I got to do a little better job on the social media side. But I just love scrapping, and anyone ever wants to train or talk, or just let me know, man. Even I love talking. I love talking about life. So if anyone wants to chit chat about that, but yeah, El Bandido Garcia on Instagram. And in terms of shout outs, no shout outs, but whoever they put me up, again, so I'm gonna go for it. I think they got me matched up with Killer B. I'm assuming it's probably gonna change because unfortunately, a lot of times weight differences and stuff. But Killer B, I respect him a lot. So if it does happen, I know he's a tall guy, really good with knees. I have to study him a little more, but respect. And if not, whoever we go against, whoever I go against, respect to you, and I'm ready to go.
Hell yeah.
All right. I'd like to, for socials, like I said, it's Horizun Alien everywhere. As long as you spell it right, you'll find me. Big shout outs to, first of all, Mr. Buddy V. Got Sultan K. Got El Bandito. It's been an honor being on here with you guys. Big shout out to Streetbeefs, Fire Chicken. It's didn't have to put me on the July event, but you put me on already. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have done plenty more fights, and I got the honor to be on here on an anniversary event already off of one fight. So that's big love, big honor. And looking forward to meeting and having the opportunity to meet all the more experienced Street Beefs fighters, as well as all the guests that are coming through. But shout out to Straight Blast Gym for getting everything started. My capoeira teacher, Instructor Viajanti, and I think he's professor now, upgraded. Shout out to Portland City Boxing, all the coaches there, all the fighters there. Cobra Kai, my boy, had Street Beefs fights already. And shout out to my girl Jeff. She was the one who she's the reason I was actually able to make it there last minute, because the rides ended up being a little rough. My car's out of commission right now, so ended up being able to get me out there. I was able to use her vehicle, and she's like fresh out of the bar. She just got out. She got out of work. I think she got to my spot at like 4, and we had to leave at like 5:36. So she was running on like an hour of sleep, and was like, all right, let's do it. Let's get it done. So big love. And shout out to my team. And Aliens Forever and the movement. And yeah, I think one of the big things right now, also actually, with Aliens Forever comes the actionability, and the actionable steps, which is I've been helping homes and businesses get solar panels on their homes for like 8 years now. So like if you have your home or business or whatever the fuck wants to finally own your power, get off whatever the utility is putting you on, constantly increasing your rates and all this bullshit constantly, you don't have to do that anymore. I'm your plug. Hit me up, DM, phone number, whatever contact you got, you know how to reach me. I'm the guy for it. So I can help you guys make a lot of money just from having that shit on your roof. So let me know.
One last thing, I'm sorry. I understood shout out as a call out. Shout out, yes, Tiny Tank Team and you guys and Street Beefs and Free Smoke, who provides the house, and keep it going, guys.
Yep. Oh, also shout out to my solar team. Freedom Forever and Freedom Pros. So let's get it.
Hey, we appreciate y'all. It's been a phenomenal show.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, much love. And if you ever do feel inclined to re-invite, never hesitate,
Yes, sir.
Likewise. Thank you, guys.
Oh, yo, by the way.
Hey, man, that was a fun show, man. I'm so mad I missed the first part.
It's all good, man, because it ain't over yet.
Not quite.
Refusing to allow limits to hold you back. When you hit that wall, you could either let it stop you or you could break through. Psalm King speaks from experience when he says cardio is key, cardio is key, cardio is key. And over here at Zuwell, we embody our motto: hard work, grit, and determination. Go get your Cardio is Key shirt today.
Streetbeefs West Coast, we have a combat karate match for you. Combat karate match for you. On my left, we have Ryu Sinin. He's from the Streetbeefs OG yard. What's your record? 6-6. 6-6. And then we have Shinigami. He's our very own from Streetbeefs West Coast at
9-2.
9-2. Yeah. All right. This is going to be fascinating. We'll let the ref pop in here and tell you the rules. Good luck. All right, gentlemen, bring it in hands down. Bring it in hands down.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, this is karate style rules, so we have mainly striking. If there is a takedown, it'll need to be clinched, and I'll let you work on the ground for 5 seconds. Is that understood? I'll count me, son, she, go, and I'll stop you guys and you'll get up. Okay? When I say break, no fighting on the break, you stand up and you listen to me at all times. Okay? Mouthpiece, any questions for me? Okay. Touch now if you'd like to. Come back to your
Whoever wins this other band's headband.
We're fighting for headband, right? Timer. You ready? All right. Puppy in hand. All right, you ready? All right, you ready? Hajime!
Shinigami comes out, went straight for the punch. Ryu spins him, knees. We see Shinny going down to the ground. Some nice ground and pound from Ryu. Heavy shots to the body there. Shinny covered up his head well, but he did not cover up those body shots. We're back to our feet. Went for the kick. Went for a sweep attempt. Nice knee from Ryu. Kind of tied up there with the arms. The arms are kind of, oh, nice knee from Shinigami. He snuck that knee in. He snuck a nice shot in. Nice right hand. Those short, sneaky shots are good when you're in this range right here. Ryu's doing a good job of not giving Shinigami anything to work with. Keeping him in that corner and pinned to the wall. We're back at the center. Ryu slowly pushing and working Shinigami back to that corner. And these are draining situations right here. Shinny's got to get out that corner. Beautiful kick there. Shinny went for the kick. Ryu saw it and threw his kick and pretty much swept Shinny in that beautiful exchange. All right, we exchanged some kicks. Beautiful. Ryu working that front leg. Some nice short shots there. We see Shinigami again attempt the toss. And he just doesn't have anything to work with. He's in that corner again. Not big shots, but again, very tiring to be in that corner and up against that wall. Ryu very focused, very determined, and that's our round. The end of round one. Both men have established themselves. Now let's see what they do in the second round. And round two starts. Shinigami flying out of his corner. Ryu staying focused. Oh, and a beautiful sweep by Shinigami. Ryu hits the ground hard. Looks like Shinigami attempts to take his back, and it's broken up by the ref. All right, back to our feet. Beautiful kick from Ryu. Ryu again with the kick to the thigh, tearing that thigh up. Shinigami again attempting to get the toss. And Ryu's doing a really good job of just smothering Shinigami to that wall. Taking away his weapons. Both men are visibly tired. But Ryu is doing great. That was a beautiful kick from Ryu. Beautiful punch from Shinigami. And these two lock up once more. Shinigami finally takes down Ryu. We're on the ground. And there is an opportunity for some ground and pound. Our referee breaks it up before Shinigami can initiate his strikes. Back to our feet. Nice little teep. Another kick from Ryu. Another right hand from Ryu. Two right hands that touched Shinigami. Alright, now we're locked up. We're going to go ahead and break up. Create some space. There's a beautiful exchange between these two. Back into that corner. Shinigami has to get off the wall. Visibly tired, but still in the fight. Nice right hand from Shinigami. And Ryu, beautiful combinations from Ryu. Shinigami catches his leg on that one. And that's the end of round 2. Both men increasing the output, increasing the intensity. And now here we are at the final round. Round 3, let's go. All right, here we are, last round of the fight. Oh, and we do an exchange of punches, Shinigami attempts. Ooh, beautiful kick from Ryu. Nice block from Shinigami. Oh, and he almost had the arm toss there. He's caught the leg. Oh, he's taking some nasty punishment from Ryu there. To the ground we go. Ryu with the hammer fists and the emote. Alright, Shinigami's visibly shaken. Still throws some beautiful combination of kicks. Spinning back kick lands. Beautiful body work from Ryu. And again, pressing the action, pressing Shinny against that wall, and really draining that gas tank. Shinny's got to get out of the corner. Ryu's right back on it. Beautiful shot to the body. Beautiful jab to the face. Shinigami is visibly shaken. And we have our winner here. There you have it, folks. Ryu Senen versus Shinigami, Combat Karate. And well, that's the fight. That's an interesting turn of events. Our referee, Bushido Zed, felt that he had to call the fight due to Shinigami not defending himself. We saw him in the corner, hunched over, not attacking and not defending. Ryu Senen attacking Shinigami, and Bushido Zed did what he had to do. Hopefully we won't see this take place again in the rematch at Streetbeefs West Coast 50, but time will tell. Comment below.
Yeah, that was one killer breakdown. Holy shit.
Appreciate you, man. The rematch going down next month at the anniversary, and it's been very spicy between these two in the chats and in the group for the past few weeks. So I said, why not break down this controversial fight as we go into the rematch. So there you have it.
Hey, talk about fire.
Straight fire, man. Straight fire.
Yeah, the last week you got a forgotten favorites. This week you had Samke Smoke Break, and next week you're about to have. But we have to go and say thank you guys so much. I don't know. Can we keep going, Samke, or should we just wrap up the show?
Nah, it's about that time, brother. First and foremost, I want to thank our guests. Shout out to Horizun the Alien. We appreciate you. You guys be looking out for his fight when it drops. Shout out to El Bandido. We appreciate you. Everyone be looking out for his next fight that hasn't dropped yet, but he's got plenty of bangers that's on the channel, Streetbeefs West Coast. If you guys haven't liked and subscribed, what are you doing? Go ahead and like and subscribe. You know, we're all about sharing support and love here, so we appreciate that in return. Shout out to Buddy V. Shout out to Jay. We kill it every week. Shout out to Street Beefs, OG Yard, Scrap Yard, West Coast, and the Dirty South. We do this for y'all. Everybody watching live, everybody on replay, we appreciate y'all. We do this for y'all. And Overtime Hustle Magazine, we appreciate you. Heart in the Fight, we appreciate you. And Zwell World is where you can pick up your Cardio is Key shirts. That's Zwell. You see it. Hold on. Let me go ahead and break it down for you. You see it. Zwellworld.com. We appreciate you. How much are the shirts currently, buddy?
Right now they're 25, but I did a thing to where every Wednesday when you pop up, if you use the SOMK code, you have a full 24 hours once that show runs to get it for the $10. We're trying to get everybody rocking this merch. We want everybody to have one. So,
Yeah,
there's like a whole month almost until the anniversary,
Get them while you can. They're on sale. Use the code and boom. But that's pretty much it for me, man. I appreciate everyone and great show.
Yeah. Shout out Zuel. You know the Instagram Zwell_Buddy V, the Facebook Zwell World, same as the website Zwell-World.com. And the summer has been postponed long enough. You might see 1 or 2 new things start popping up this week now. You're gonna see it mixed with a whole bunch of interesting things. I can't even say because you just have to tune in to find out. Whether it's on the Yankee and the Brit MMA Underground, whether it's on one of the Street Beef pages, the Zwell World page, tune in and you'll find out. You don't know, but you know where to find us every Wednesday. But with that being said, we always ended in Jay's famous words with one world, one love. Oh shit. Shout out Samke, shout out Jay. Couldn't do it without either of you. Thank you guys. Deuces.